This video, I'm gonna be making a sword for my upcoming game, Blade Battles. But I'm brand new to Roblox Studio, so I don't know how to do anything at all. So this video is gonna be pretty interesting. I spent a little bit of time in a game called Sword Maker, which is like $8 on Steam. And I modeled the starter sword in my game, which is just gonna be a regular katana. And this is the picture I came up with. It's pretty basic katana. The colors aren't right on it yet, but I can obviously fix that. From what I am gathering on making a sword in Roblox is make the model in Blender and import it to Roblox. I will not be adding texture or anything to this sword in this video or making any animations for that since I'm just too new to Roblox Studio and I need to learn. But if you want to follow this Roblox Studio series, make sure to subscribe and like this video. Please, I'm begging you. Like, all I need is your subscription. All right, now that we're in Blender though, I just need to delete all this stuff right here. And well, that's pretty much where I'm at now. All right, image and then reference, I'm pretty sure. And then we're just gonna head on over to screenshots and press our katana. Just like that, we have it. If you have not gathered yet from this video, it is not a tutorial. I got the image in and now I just gotta make a plane. All right, we got the plane added. We are going to delete some edges of it like you and these two. And just like that, we only have one vertex. It's right there. So we're gonna select that and we're going to move it all the way to the very tip of this katana. Now we're just going to press E multiple times going down this katana to completely highlight it. But we're only going to do the blade because I'm going to export it in multiple sections because I think that's just going to be easier when we go to texture it. So I'm going to have the sword in 3 bits. The actual blade, the guard, and the handle. To me, I think it's just going to be easier that way. I don't know if that's actually how you're meant to, but that's what I'm doing. But I'll get back to you once this sword is highlighted. All right, now that we're nearing the top, merge them at the center, I guess, and then move it back to where it should be. Just like that, we have completely highlighted the blade, but we cannot extrude it quite yet. We have to come through here and connect all these dots together. So I'm just going to highlight these using Shift and A, and you get the rest, and then press F, and they connect. So I'm just going to go completely down the sword and keep doing it. But I'll get back to you once I am finished. And just like that, I highlighted the blade. But now, Pizza, how are we going to fill the whole sword? Well, what I like doing is just highlighting the entire thing and pressing F. And, well, it fills. If it's not smooth on an edge you don't like, just highlight one and you can move it and it fixes it. But now that we got our blade, we're just going to select it all, press 3 on our keyboard, and then extrude it just like that. Now, it's a katana. Obviously, I don't want it thick like that. I want it pretty thin. About that is just fine. In Roblox Studio, we can size it a little more if we have to, but for now that is how I'm gonna leave my katana blade. Generally I would add a nice edge to it to make it look sharp, but I'm not that experienced with Blender either. All I use Blender for is cringy YouTube thumbnails, so obviously I don't know too much about Blender. But now we have that done, so we're gonna press this eyeball over here to hide it so it's not in our way. And now we're moving on to the guard of the sword, which is right here. But for the guard, we're basically gonna do the same thing. We're gonna go up here, press add mesh and plane, and there our plane is. Then I'm gonna press R on my keyboard and 90 and enter, so it's gonna be like that. Now that we have the plane, we're just gonna select 3 corners we do not want by just selecting them, and then we're gonna right click and delete vertices. So now we just have this singular little dot right there, and basically do the exact same thing we just did for the blade. Just instead of putting out the tip of the blade, we're gonna put it in the very center of the guard. But now that we have done that, we're just gonna press E again and highlight the guard. I'll get back to you once I do that. All right, now we're nearing the end of the guard, and we're just going to select these 2 vertices right here, right click again, and merge them to the center. And we're going to raise it a little bit so it doesn't look too weird and blocky. But just like that, we have highlighted the guard. Well, not literally, but we've made the outline of a guard. But this time, since there's not that many vertices on the bottom, and it's a pretty simple shape, I'm just going to highlight it all and press F, and that fills it in. Obviously, it's not the best highlight ever. I didn't want to do it too good because, well, it's weird edges like that, so I just modified it a bit. But now we got the guard ready to be extruded. So now we're going to select all of it, press 3 on our keyboard again, move our mouse so we can see what we're doing. Just like that, we can change it to what we like. But you might be noticing that, well, the blade and guard aren't actually connected. Well, that's why I'm just going to raise it. Raise it enough where you don't see a gap. I'm going to go a little bit above though, so just in case something does happen and the guard gets shifted just a bit, we'll be fine. Now we're on to the final part of the sword, the handle. probably the easiest part. It is just a rectangle. We're going to do the exact same thing we have been doing. We're going to select the image in the background, but I bet you know where we're going with this. We're going to add a plane, which is just right up here. Go to mesh and then plane again. And well, final plane of this katana is. I think you get the gist of what I'm doing though, but I'm going to rush through making the handle of the katana. So enjoy this very short montage. Alright, we have our katana now. It is 3 whole planes. First plane is, well, obviously the blade. The second plane is the guard, and the third is the handle. What are we going to do now? We're going to export each plane individually. How are we going to do that? Well, just select one plane, just like that. We got the blade. We're going to head on over here to File, and then Export, and we're going to export it as a wavefront OBJ. Now just save it where you want to. I'm going to save it in a folder named Blender Exports, which I created, so you probably won't have it, but I'm just going to name it Katana Blade Plane 1. And then we're going to press Export Wavefront OBJ and repeat the process for the other 2 planes. All right, now that you have exported your entire sword in 3 different sections, or however many you have, depending on what type of weapon you're trying to make. But now we're going to come over to Roblox Studio, over to the Home tab, Import 3D, and go to your files where you saved your export. And now repeat the process for all 3 of them. Just select it and press. If you have the handle or guard left, like on this little preview, you might have to go to Blender and disable this camera and eyeball each export you do. Anyway, we're just going to leave it at that name and then import it all as how it is. And now repeat the process for what you just did for the other 2. All right, now that you've made your katana, well, you're almost done. You just have to color it and stuff, which again, we're not doing in this video. There that katana is. I'm going to see if I can somehow add this into my inventory. I doubt it's going to work since I haven't configured the handle to actually sync with my arm, but I'm just gonna try. I do have to say, it is looking like a pretty dang good katana. Next video though, we're gonna configure it to be in our inventory and be able to be used actually. So like, we're gonna do some scripting to make it do damage, all that fun stuff. And maybe we're gonna be using Moon Animator as well and animate a slashing animation. But yeah, for a first ever model made in Blender and put in Roblox Studio by me, I'd say this was a success, but we'll see how successful I really was in this next video. Comment down below if you want to see that. But while you're waiting for my terrible upload schedule to actually make a next video, you should go check out my other videos. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. Join my Roblox group and Discord.